Hello and welcome, and for those of you who watched my original video where I was using a self-cast Soulrend to defeat every Uber boss and regular boss, just want to say welcome back. And if you watched that video in its entirety, I know I said I wasn't going to make any more content for this league and that I would be done playing, but it was just burning a hole in my mind about Simulacrum. And if I'm being totally transparent, Simulacrum was far more challenging for me to complete than the Uber bosses. I was able to defeat every Uber boss and every regular boss in the game long before I could effectively take on the Simulacrum. So I just wanted to kind of show what it's capable of doing in that, because I'm sure some of you may have had questions, and I have been asked that prior in previous conversations. And so I just wanted to post this video and let you know what it could do. And so I wanted to also show the update. Last time I was around 10.2. I was able to make about a 10% boost by adding some additional gear. But you can take a look at the build. It's posted in the description, and but I was able to crank it up to about 11.1, as you can see here. Now, of course, that's with 15 stacks and having to hinder on the enemy. And so against pinnacle bosses, I have about a 90-95% chance to hinder, and 15 stacks only takes a few seconds to obtain, and then to maintain it is not typically a problem. And so that's where it's currently at. Now, of course, for this, I'll be using greater multiple projectiles. That does drop it down to about 7.5 million. Now, losing the extra DPS, honestly, not that big of a deal. We're not fighting anything that has, 2 to 300 million HP. And so losing a slight amount of DPS is not a big deal. It's more important to hit more targets. And so without further ado, I'm going to start off with wave 1, just to kind of show what it can do there. We all know how that's going to end. I'll jump to wave 15, and then go to the last 2 waves and see how far I can make it. And so wave 1 here, and the reason why I wanted to show wave 1, of course you know that if you have this kind of DPS, you're going to just burn right through something that's 0% delirium and regular trash mobs. And so that's not really the point. The point is that I could actually probably have killed almost all of these mobs and all of these monsters with only using Bane. And my Bane only has about 600,000 DPS. And it just goes to show that to be able to run T16 rare maps, you don't really need a whole lot of damage to be able to just cut through the content. And so don't ever feel that you have to hit a point where you need millions and millions of damage in order to complete some of these basic map content. So I can easily use Bane and Bane alone and almost one-shot about anything on a T16 rare map. And so that was wave 1, pretty simple and straightforward. We're going to jump to wave 15. And so I wanted to show wave 15 because while I don't ever post or comment anything on Reddit, it can be a little sketchy to be on there and see some of the opinions. But some people were saying that with Soulrend they were struggling, or that they had a pretty decent cap around 60 to 80% delirium. And so I wanted to show what can be done at 75% delirium. Now I could have done wave 16 and just put up the extra 5%, but it's not really that big of a deal. You can see that this is no problem at all. Most of these monsters, even at 75%, are being killed on the very first pass through. And so not a big deal. You get the damage high enough, you can achieve a lot of wonderful things in the game and complete a lot of the more difficult content and endgame content. There we go, that was wave 15. And so moving on to the second to last wave I was able to complete. It was wave 29. And so I didn't mean to skip it that time, but it looks like, yeah, wave 29, I was able to complete wave 30. And so going through this, obviously it's 100% delirium at this point, and has been for the last 9 waves. It can be a little sketchy depending on what kind of mods are on that particular wave. And so the monsters can become very difficult to kill if they get a lot of chaos resistance. So it is possible that they could get, 50 to almost 60% chaos damage resistance in conjunction with 30 to 40% additional life. That does make them incredibly difficult to kill, because as you know, at 100% delirium, it gets your damage by about 95%, I think about 95%, maybe 98%. And so here, obviously, you can see I'm fighting Omniphobia and Kosis. I typically try and go after I try to go after Omniphobia first. He likes to stay right on top of you and continually jump around and is much more obnoxious. He has one heck of a physical damage hit. And so I try and take him out first. Plus, he's easier to kill, quite frankly. And so knocking him out of the way makes Kosis a pretty easy fight. And able to get him down there. So moving to wave 30 here. on wave 30. Wave 30, for a lot of the waves, and specifically wave 30, I start off in the corner. I am casting Bane, and I put up my Wither Totem. I'm casting Bane because, one, it activates that Arcane Surge. Almost got killed there. Good times. I'm casting Bane because it activates that Arcane Surge. And so it gives me that little bit of power spike or damage spike when I'm casting those Soulrends through the monsters there. And I start off in the corner because I want to try and shoot across the map to make sure I get maximum coverage. Now here, typically I try and hover around the outsides and try to cast inward. Of course, I landed Omniphobia and Kosis again. Honestly, you can pretty much expect them to show up almost all the time in wave 25 on, and sometimes even wave 20 on. You'll be fighting them on a regular basis. Once again, try and take care of Omniphobia first, because he likes to jump around and he's quite annoying, and he can do a lot of damage, and I don't want to get one-shot by him. And so it's very difficult for him to one-shot me, but it is possible depending on the kind of damage modifiers I have on. Now, it can be very difficult depending on what kind of damage modifiers I have on, because as you well know, if you've played Simulacrum, you know that they can potentially land 3 or 4 or maybe even more damage mods, which makes their hits incredibly lethal. And so taking on Kosis here for the probably like the 7th or 8th time in this run. I did die once on wave 23, so I do have a death. It wasn't deathless. I have completed the Simulacrum deathless. It just kind of depends on a little bit of luck, but typically I can do it in definitely sub 2 deaths, and this time I only had 1. And as you can see on wave 29, I almost got insta-killed there as I was down to about my they took out all my shields. I was down to about 219 HP. And so, but Kosis is down. And so, once again, it can be done. Simulacrum, I was able to, in the end, I was able to consistently complete it all the way through wave 30. And if I got lucky with some of the modifiers in the map, and there's some of the ones where they don't have the additional life and damage resistance, I'm able to cut through them still pretty quick. And so, and I was able to do some of them deathless. So I'd say that probably on average, my average number of deaths for going through Simulacrum was 1. But yeah, I just really wanted to show what it was capable of doing there. And I know that they're doing a pretty significant boost to Soulrend next league, and so I'm excited to see what someone's capable of doing with it. I would love to see someone take it to the absolute max and maybe even hit 15, 20 million DPS out of it and just be able to trivialize all endgame content. I think that'd be amazing. Of course, I started playing this before, after I think a few nerfs a couple seasons ago or several seasons ago, and it was a really beta skill overall, but the fact that you can even take some of the most basic or low damage DPS skills out there and be able to do all endgame content and hit a point where you can do it all with ease, it was quite frankly a fun challenge for me. That's what I tend to enjoy the most. And while GGG has their flaws, I mean, at the end of the day, I love playing the game. It's fun. And sometimes they make some modifications or updates that I don't agree with, or things that get you killed a lot more often that can be obnoxious to encounter. But overall, as a casual player who just plays a lot, it was a great deal of fun. I love this league. I love this build. And but as a result of the time that I put in, as I said, I'm going to take a league or maybe 2 leagues off, and after that I'm going to come back and do Rolling Magma and see what I can do with that. That should be a great deal of fun. And I may post some more videos about that one when the time comes, just to, you know, throw out different ideas and give people some different ideas on builds, and try out some of those lesser skills. Try them out. They can be fun. I mean, you might be surprised with how far you can take a particular skill if you've got the time to do it. But at the end of the day, play the game to have fun, and that's pretty much about it. Well, I hope you enjoy the video, and if you have any questions about the build, definitely post them down in the comments. If you have any ideas, definitely post that as well. But we'd love to have a conversation with anybody that wants to talk about it. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy the video and that you all have a great day.